Welcome back to the Delaware Way. We continue our conversation now with Colonel Vaughn Bond, Newcastle County Police Chief. You talked a moment ago about you get a number of calls dealing with mental health. How many? Can you quantify that?
Well, I would say I don't have the exact number right now, but as I often say, if I had my police radio right here and we left it on for a half hour, you would hear anywhere from 3 to 5 calls dealing with someone who's suffering from mental illness. And in a crisis. And so we,
And a crisis means they could hurt themselves or somebody else?
That's correct. That's correct.
That really is an incredible statement. It shows the problem we have in dealing with people that have mental health problems in this country. If Newcastle County is just a microcosm of the rest of the country, which I'm sure it is. Are we doing enough to make certain that people that have mental health problems aren't getting guns?
The way that it's designed right now, I think the people who are diagnosed as having mental illness, and if the proper steps are taken, these individuals are unable to purchase a firearm. When it works the way it should, it's fine. The problem is when you're dealing with mental illness is it's very tricky. And the professionals will tell you this. And sometimes doctors are left, even after a thorough examination and assessment, sometimes they're left up in the air and they have to make that decision. And that decision sometimes is they say that, okay, well, while there are some concerns, the person does not necessarily meet the criteria. And so that person is able to then leave and they're not listed as a person who's not able to purchase a firearm. The other issue is, I think, is not necessarily the folks who are who go and see a professional for the mental illness. The more of the concern is the folks who have mental illness that is untreated. And I think you have far more people who are suffering from mental illness that's untreated than you have people who are being treated. The majority of the time, the individuals who are being treated, who are under treatment, they are getting the proper medication, they are seeing a therapist regularly. The concern is the folks who do not have access to mental illness, to treatment for mental illness. They don't have family members who are aware of the different resources that are out there.
Means, right?
They may not have the means. They may not have the insurance. And so what happens is many times these individuals are left to their own accord. And as a result, this mental illness, if it's not treated, it continues to fester, it becomes worse. And so I think a lot of times when you see incidents happening across this country with people who are suffering from mental illness, one of the questions you have to ask is, okay, was this person being treated? Were they seeing someone? And I think a lot of times if you start to peel back the layers, you'll find out that these individuals aren't being treated.
But even then, it's very difficult for a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a mental health professional to report that person because they have an oath.
Well, I think that the mental health professionals understand that if they have a person who they can say has mental illness, that they will make sure that they are following the protocol and reporting that person so that this person is a person that when you run their name through a database, you're able to determine that this person is not legally able to purchase a firearm.
Donald Trump has come out and said he wants better background checks. Congress is going to work on better background checks to make sure that people that have a mental illness can't buy a gun. I know that Delaware in the laws here is ahead of the country, most of the country, when it comes to making sure that the wrong people do not get guns. What would you like to see done? Is there a step that needs to be taken that's not being taken now?
No, I think all of those steps are excellent steps, and I think that they, by having those steps, it increases the chances that those individuals will not be involved in violent acts. The problem, I go back to, the problem is we have to get people who know that they have someone or they know of someone who's suffering from mental illness to get the treatment and to get the help. I'm confident that if a person is suffering from mental crisis or mental illness is in a crisis, that if they are taken into a resource and they're given the proper treatment, that person will no longer be a threat to themselves or a threat to others.
All right, let's continue talking about precautions that could be taken and if there should be more guns in schools, not less. That's when we continue our conversation with Colonel Vaughn Bond, the Newcastle County Police Chief, when the Delaware Way continues.